Story 1. I hanged myself and the belt broke, laughing my ass off. I couldn't tell anyone because they would worry needlessly. The weird thing is the attempt made me feel happy for some weird reason. Like I suddenly felt happy to be alive. Story 2. Life is getting so expensive. Rent, bills, groceries, dining out, clothing, etc. Working for peanuts. I don't know how nobody is rebelling against this. Story 3. I'm tenfold as successful as I should have been based on my childhood. I have plenty of friends, family that I love, hobbies I enjoy, I do volunteer work, I work with great people, I have a house and a nice truck. Every moment that I'm not distracted is a living hell in my head. And I don't know why. Nobody in my life knows. When I worked in a lumber yard and lived in a poor apartment, I was much happier. Story 4. I had a falling out with my parents, and now I feel uncomfortable talking to my siblings. It's an awful situation, and when I tell people, they always give unhelpful and unsolicited advice. Feels bad, man. Story 5. My boyfriend and I broke up, so I am completely alone. I cut off all my friends and now him. My parents think I am going out to hang out with friends, but I am going places by myself so they do not notice. Story 6. I feel lonely at home. I feel like my work is unfulfilling. I would really like to find someone who I could be in a relationship with. But because of a sick mom I'm caring for, I don't think I'd be capable of splitting my time between being in two places at once. Sometimes I wish I could just escape it all, go back to school, and restart a new career with no at-home responsibilities. Story 7. My personal life is going so uncharacteristically well that I don't want to tell anyone close to me because I feel like I'm bragging, especially since things aren't going nearly as well for any of them. Story 8. My ambitions and values have changed since I got married, and I could not help but fall in love with someone else who shares them with me. It is an otherwise fine marriage. It has grown stronger over the years, but more and more, I realize we start to want different futures. Story 9. I'm transgender, living with family for a few years with no motivation, and suddenly one night it came together after talking to some friends online and seeing a counselor right after. I knew for years but was too scared to confront it. The family I'm staying with is kind of controlling and quite anti-lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. My family is proud to see me looking for a job, taking care of myself with diet and exercise, but they have no idea it's leading to me transitioning and moving across the country. I feel like I'm watching the timer on a ticking time bomb that no one else knows about. It's going to be messy, but I'm also excited to live again, hoping for the best, but I am also not going to hold my breath. Story 10. Just got through a cancer scare. Thankfully, the lymph nodes in my chest aren't indicating cancer. Still have to have one cut out and a biopsy done. I'm staying away from Dr. Google, though, as I don't want to worry myself until I know what it is. I told nobody in my life as it's not a worry I wanted on anyone else's shoulders. Story 11. That I came into this world unwanted by my parents, and the universe will keep rejecting me until I leave permanently. That I can't work hard or heal myself out of this. Story 12. Being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, I've gone through shock, anger, depression, and more. I've always been healthy and fit for my age and was hoping to live to be old. Now I'm looking at degeneration, disability, and probably dementia at some stage with people having to take care of me. I want my family and friends to remember me as I have been, not as what I will become. In the meantime, I don't want to be defined by this terrible thing that is happening to me. Story 13. That I want and need to leave my husband because our relationship is toxic and has run its course. It's deeper than that, but I don't want to be a burden to anyone in my life. Story 14. I was always the baby of the family, which I really relished. It never occurred to me that I would one day be getting old and they would all be dead. I am the last one except for my daughter. And is she even one, given that she had a different last name? So, I feel lonely a lot because that feeling of being the protected and adored child is gone. I miss everyone so much. There is nobody interested in the new twists in my life. There is nobody to ask for advice. There is nobody to carry on our family traditions. Holidays feel weird now. If I do not make them happen, they do not happen. Nobody checks to see if my headache went away because nobody cares whether or not I have a headache. All of this might not register for some, but because of my position in the family, it just feels like an extra little add-on to my continuing grief. I talked about it a lot for a while, and then people started acting like I should be over it, so I keep it to myself now. Maybe I have complex grief or something. Story 15. My ex and best friend is dying from graft versus host disease and leukemia complications. It's attacking his lungs and he can't breathe. His mother called me and told me none of the treatments are working anymore, and he only has days left. Because he's in the intensive care unit, only immediate family is allowed to see him. I'm absolutely devastated and can't stop crying. Story 16. My mother has done some horrible things to me. Nothing I assume to be really bad. Just a lot of manipulation, fear-mongering, trauma bonding, favoritism, narcissism, and a childhood full of emotional neglect that is deep-rooted in my bones. She's laid hands on me before and threatened to beat me up, but that was maybe 1 to 3 times in my entire life, as far as I can remember. However, I was in my teens when I suddenly remembered a plethora of experiences from my toddler years that had been hidden from my mind for ages, involving my mother bathing me. She never did anything that was obviously filthy, but she did make sure that the soap would go in there, even if I begged her not to. I remember it hurting so badly and sometimes walking very weirdly for hours or days or weeks that progressed into very vulgar nightmares that no 4 to 6-year-old should be experiencing. It wasn't of her, though. It was of what looked like an obese 40 to 60-year-old bald and Hispanic man. And it wasn't like an experience in the bathtub. It was the real thing. I hated them. I've never met a man like him, though. It terrifies me that he was such a figure in my nightmares. It makes me wonder if what happened to me is legitimate. Why I sometimes age regress. Why I am always so childish and nostalgic. Why I can't stand the thought of being romantically or sexually comfortable with anybody. Why I don't have a sexual drive. Why I am in my 20s and have never menstruated. Maybe something happened to me when I was really young, outside of my mother, and I can't remember. Opening up about this to anybody I personally know, especially my mother, would be my worst nightmare. I am currently in love with somebody, and I make no intentions to come forward about how I feel about him because I could never offer what a normal person would offer. My trust issues and depression don't help either. Telling any of my friends what I'm going through would guarantee instant ghosting. I'm used to ghosting, but not from something like this. And what would my family think? Accusing my mother of something like this. I'm just going to deal with this alone. But it's a daily thing that I've been thinking about. I wish this wasn't what was going on in my life, but it is. I want to note that I've twisted things a tiny bit because I'm afraid someone I know is going to read this and tie it to me. Story 17. Voluntarily quit my job in May. Could not stand it and just left without a new job lined up. Been unemployed for the past 5 months and have been liking it. Started looking this month for new work, but am in no rush. Really do not want to start working again, but cannot keep eating into my reserve accounts. Story 18. I am successfully losing weight, 13 kilograms so far. I have another 70 to lose. I do not want to tell anyone in real life, not even my husband or kids, because when I have done that in the past, I have gotten overwhelmed by the idea of everyone watching and me failing and disappointing them all. I have tried to do this so many times, and it has never worked. This time it is. I do not know why. Maybe it is because of the therapy I have been having. It is not a struggle. I am not craving food as much, and I am restricting calories but not what kinds of food I have. However, I find I am tending to want healthier choices anyway. I am walking more with incidental exercise and some on-purpose movement, and that is making me feel physically good. I am terrified I am going to mess it up somehow. But if I do not, I will be normal-sized and healthy by my 50th birthday. I have always been overweight. I do not know what that will be like, but I am excited to find out. Story 19. I'm burnt out and overstressed. Taking care of my husband and son is too much. My husband is disabled and can't do much, so I end up picking up the workload. And now I've been struggling with who I am as a person. I feel stuck just being a wife and mother. After giving up being a witch, I have no identity, no sense of self. and I miss being who I used to be. I tried getting a therapist, but the Department of Veterans Affairs is not good at getting back to people, and I don't have the money for outside help. So I'm stuck in my own thoughts with no one to talk to about why I feel this way. Story 20. I have been binge watching all these weird shows and pretending I am not addicted. The plot twists are killing me, though. Like, who comes up with this stuff? Story 21. I'm overwhelmed at work. I just can't get everything done. I'm tired yet can't sleep. I fear it's not going to get any easier, just harder, and I'm already giving 110%. I am not sure they realize how much there is to do. Story 22. I don't know if I want to stop using drugs altogether because they help me with another problem that is fed by the drug itself and causes me to feel less pain due to the drug use. Story 23. I'm dying, but actually. And I can't help but be annoyed with how insignificant everyone else's problems seem to me. And I know it's wrong to be that way. Story 24. I am getting more and more depressed as time passes. I recently had to end my relationship with my best friend. I don't see many positive things in my future, and I'm getting tired of seeing people leaving my life or having to leave them. But I'm good at faking all those things. People in my life don't know how bad I am right now. Story 25. My mother is abusive. The way I describe my mother, people often say she's a nice woman until I detail the terrible things she does. But I never call her abusive when she is. Story 26. I feel like the frog in the slowly boiling pot of water over my own life. I'm not terribly financially responsible. I'm not very organized. I'm not super well educated through no fault of my parents, and I just lost what I thought was going to be a forever friend because of the dumbest argument, leaving my social confidence shattered. Story 27. Wow, today is a wild day to see this question. And sorry, no, I'm not explaining. My life changed forever today, and I'm still wrapping my brain around it. Story 28. My mom met a guy, stopped being a part of our lives, mine, my husband's, and my kids, and married the guy in less than a year of dating. They moved out of state. She was giddy about it. It hurts a lot that she does not seem to care much about us now that she has found someone. I honestly feel like I have been grieving a loss, but she is still alive, so it is confusing. Story 29. Just had a baby. I'm pretty sure the parents and the mother don't want me in her life, or at least don't want me to have any rights for my child. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be on the birth certificate yet. She literally just had the baby and she doesn't want me to stay the night in the hospital. I don't think I've done anything to make them not want me. Literally a week ago, the mother was acting like she loved me and texting me every morning with updates. Then, the moment her family is around and she's in the hospital, she ghosts me even though I was here waiting for her at 6 in the morning when her appointment was at 7. I think the only reason for them is that I'm only 19. I keep telling my family that if I'm not on the birth certificate, it's a gift from the universe. I can live my life and stay away from their crazy family. But the truth is, after seeing my daughter and holding her, I never wanted to let her go. If I could hold her forever and if she's not in my life, I might die even though I've known her a couple of hours. My heart has never been as broken as it is now riding home away from my child. Story 30. I'm worried my husband is going to break down. He's handling too much right now, and I don't know how to help him because I'm also handling too much. It's like a collective weight. At least we're in it together, and I can temporarily lift his mood by lifting his spirits. Story 31. Every day, I consider ending my life because I feel like I have failed my children. I live the same day over and over again and can barely afford to feed them. But I know if I were gone, my life insurance policies would take care of them. Story 32. I'm at my lowest. I haven't had a good night's sleep in over a year, and I sleep and nap almost daily. I'm beyond depressed. I'm considering smoking marijuana again after being sober for 5 years, and starting back binge drinking. Story 33. I got a good union job spot a week ago, also working on being sober. I lost everything this summer, including a start to a relationship and my apartment due to my actions. It's been a rough few months, but I definitely needed the space to focus on myself. Story 34. My mental health has been on a slippery slope lately. Right now, I am sadly fragile and vulnerable. I try to hide it and slowly come out of my shell. There's just a lot of stress going on in my life. Story 35. I just got a driving under the influence charge. The woman I thought was the love of my life, who has been driving me everywhere and helping me through this, is cheating on me. I'm on the verge of losing the best job I could dream of because of the driving under the influence charge. I have sneaking suspicions I might have cancer, but I can't afford to go to the doctor to even find out. I'm terrified my reckless nature in hard times will lead to me crashing out and violating my probation. I was honestly given every opportunity in life, and I've wasted it time and time again. Overall, I'm just exhausted and have no way at the moment to regain my independence and success. We keep going, though, fueled by spite and determination. Story 36. I cut off contact with one of my parents, and I haven't been the same mentally ever since. It was for the best in the long run, but when does the long run actually start? Story 37. I have a lot going for me and so many things to be thankful for, but I am just so lonely. I have friends and a family I love, but I had to leave an abusive relationship, and now there's nobody to just hold me and tell me everything's going to be okay. I'll meet an attractive, nice-seeming man and we'll flirt with each other for a time, and then it seems men aren't doing the asking out anymore. My friends said it's up to us women now, and I don't know how to adjust without coming on too strong.